in my kitchen, I made a video recently called When You're Starting to Lose Your Hair, It's Okay to Experiment with Hairstyles. It's not like, oh no, my hairline's receding, my density's changing. Well, I'm forced to shave it all off. Now granted, I do feel personally I probably look best with the zero guard buzz cut. But that doesn't mean I should be limited to that. I should be allowed as a human being to do whatever hairstyle I want to. Why not experiment? Why not in the process let it be awkward and imperfect? I think that's important to explore those options. So I made a video about that, and very popular video, received a lot of comments. I want to focus on one specifically, and that is going to be from our friend Andrew Moss. Many of his comments end up turning into videos like this one. Andrew Moss had this to say, quote, "I've said it before, but I'll say it again. To most people, that's a full head of hair. The hair loss community will scrutinize anything though. Even a Norwood 0.5 will be detected given how obsessed this community is." End quote. And yeah, I fully agree with that. I think this community is so hyper focused on hairlines and diffuse thinning and all of these things that anything short of David Schwimmer is hair loss. And in case you need to know, David Schwimmer, the guy that played Ross from Friends, of course, back in the 80s, I was watching The Wonder Years, and he was on that show. That's the first time I saw him. But he's a man in his 50s with a hairline that's like this, and it's squared and framed in, and he can turn sideways, and you won't even see temples that go back. As if that's perfection. I mean, for me, I don't feel that way. In fact, I would feel really weird if I were 50 and had that hairline. I think the most reasonable hairline for 50 is probably this, as far as an ideal hairline for 50. That's what I truly believe, because in my mind, a receding hairline or maturing or whatever you want to call it, a changing hairline is part of getting older. So if you're 50 and don't at least have this, then that's kind of weird, like for me, the way I perceive it. So yeah, I definitely think that people who are watching videos about hair loss and worried about it every day and Instagramming and posting on communities on Facebook and all of that, they're the most obsessed about other people's hairlines too. And for me, honestly, it's not something I even notice anymore for men's hairlines. And I know that may seem impossible because I post so many videos about this to cater to the community for hair loss. And in the free market rules here, so my videos are only popular because the community keeps watching them. By all means, the only way to shut down this channel is to stop watching my videos and stop voting by viewing and commenting and saying that I am relevant and important. The only way I could destroy this channel and turn my audience against me is to start making videos about something else other than hair loss. I mean, I've learned I can kind of experiment with making those alpha male videos, but still it's kind of in a subcategory of hair loss to some degree. And I think for people who are sorting all this out, that's part of why I like making all these videos too, is because someone who's that obsessed with their hair and am I gonna go bald, they need about 2 or 3 videos from a father figure like me who's gonna help them address this from a psychological point of view and teach them what masculinity is actually all about as far as our identity goes. So yeah, and by the way, what would Norwood 0.5 even be? I'm trying to think. So if Norwood 1 is straight across with no receding temples, so what would be, well no, because Norwood 1 is actually, you do have the temples going back, right? Okay, so I said that wrong. Norwood 1 is this, but some temples going back. So 0 would basically be that you could barely see. And you know, for those of you who chose to watch that video from when I was 17, when I got a perm, and you can see that at 17, I was, if I wasn't Norwood 1, I was absolutely 0.5 if nothing else. And that's question that comes up often is, you know, well, what was my hairline like when I was younger? Well, there's the video. Look it up. I got a perm when I was 17 in 1998. And it just so happened that my sister, who was filming this thing on a VHS camcorder, zoomed in on my face, and I happened to turn sideways, and it's undeniable I had receding temples. You would think that that guy would be bald today, 20 years later. So it's definitely very interesting, and it's interesting how you can obsess over hair loss, and that the fear of hair loss can be worse than hair loss itself, which, isn't that a famous quote? The fear itself being, yeah, maybe I should even make that the title of this video, about how the fear of hair loss is actually worse than hair loss itself. Thank you for helping me realize that. Your comments belong right here.